relationship between the physical deity and the devotee in relation to Western psychology. Now, you may be interested in this speech I'm about to give, this talk, this presentation I'm giving, if you are into psychology, if you're into Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, any kind of Eastern philosophy, even a little bit of a neuroscience thrown in, you might find this very interesting. So stick around. Maybe you'll find something new. I've discovered a lot just writing this myself. So enjoy. The relationship between the physical deity and devotee in relation to Western psychology. So first of all, what is a deity? Deity is somewhat of a vague word to describe something of a higher power or creator. We may call him God in the West, but when we think of deity in the Eastern sense, we think of the physical representation of God in the form of statues made of bronze, wood, rock, and a variety of other materials. We will be focusing on the physical deity, as I feel people don't understand the relationship this creates between the devotees, the worshipers, and the physical deity representation of God. Now, since we are trying to bridge a gap between the East and the West, it's important to realize what the relationship between the physical deity is truly representing from a Western perspective. Now, why a physical representation of God is needed in the Eastern idea. Now, in many Eastern philosophies from the East, it is a core belief that we are under the spell of a great illusion, Maya. This suggests that we are souls at the core of all our experiences in the physical and metaphysical. We are shrouded in this flesh and bone body, which through the senses creates a false ego that I am me. Maya creates the illusion that you are only this physical body that is constantly conflicting with the soul. You can relate this to the Christian idea that sin is the ultimate separator from God, much like Maya creates a separation from God. Maya is one of the many reasons we get caught into the many chains of sense gratification through sex, drugs, money, etc., all of which are fleeting. Now, Maya is just a fact of life in Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism. Now, if we are covered by illusion Maya, how in the world are we supposed to relate to God? In the Christian idea, how can we develop a relationship with God if we are covered by sin? How can you build any sort of relationship with God if there is a great shadow of Maya constantly tricking us, a great illusion tricking us? In Sanatana Dharma Hinduism, well, you manifest a physical deity. This involves bringing God down to our perspective. So the physical deity is a representation of God in which one can truly have a relationship with the divine in the purest form according to Eastern philosophy. It is a necessity to bring the spiritual realms to the material realm as they are intertwined in Sanatana Dharma. Most of the theistic ideologies today stems from the us and them mentality, when in actuality, there's way more in common than we understand. And I think I can make this somewhat clear. So here's a psychological interpretation from a Western perspective. Now, from a psychological standpoint and understanding this Eastern idea, we can come to the conclusion that there is an extremely strong relationship built between the physical deity and devotee. And it's beautiful when you understand it through the lens of the social sciences. We are all trying to have a mutual relationship with some form of divinity. And when that divinity permeates into a society, it can be beautiful or destructive, depending on how you view religion. The Western idea of the soul is relatively the same as the Eastern in my mind. You are not the body, you are not this body, and there is a creator. That's a mutual understanding between most theistic ideologies. So in this way, we can understand that the main difference is in the way we present God between these different philosophies. Many ways we deify God. Coming back to the East, it's an absolutely amazing and beautiful show of dramatic reverence for the divine through the physical deity. The physical deity is God manifested in the material. This is extremely important to remember. It's not just a statue of stone, wood, bronze, metal, etc. It is literally God to them. You must understand the importance of this idea in order to appreciate the beauty of the devotional drama I'm about to explain. These physical deities are treated as God. They have facial features resembling that of our own. We can relate to the deity because they have the same look, the same essence of our own humanity. This brings in the idea of man made in God's image, or the opposite idea, God made in man's image. There's so much involved in this relationship between the devotee and deity. They feed the deity before they feed themselves. They offer flowers to the deity before they even are allowed to smell them. When it's cold in the wintertime, they carefully dress their deity in warm clothing and wrap them in blankets. They bring their deities out of their homes and bring them along on pilgrimages. I've seen them purchase airplane tickets for their deity to join them on flights. Most Hindus have their own altar and deities in their own homes. Now, the temple deity is a grand display of divine love. You walk into a packed temple, the altar being front of the stage, curtains covering the devotee's view of the deity. Much like a Broadway show, the room is tense in excitement and waiting for the dramatic display of darshan viewing of the deity to begin. You wait in great anticipation to see your love, your God. The curtains are quickly pulled back and the crowd and temple goes absolutely insane. People throw themselves to the ground. People struggle to get to the front of the stage. They are absolutely beyond ecstatic. Madness erupts. Oh my God, I love you. I see you and you are looking at me. I know you love me, my sweet Lord. If you've never witnessed it, there's really no words to describe the emotions you may feel experiencing this event as an outsider, as I have. That's the feeling they experience during a temple darshan ceremony. A viewing of the physical deity, a viewing of God, a viewing of the Creator. I didn't really think about how important the physical deity meant to them until I really began to think about it from a physiological and psychological lens. At first, I was extremely uncomfortable. I felt really out of place for a long time at the temples. I was always thinking to myself, they're just dressed up dolls. I just can't understand it. I can't relate to it. Then I began to look into the psychology of this phenomenon further. The bonding and trust through vision in psychology. Now let's take a step back into a more grounded approach. Scientists claim that the whites of our eyes were developed through the process of evolution in order to form social connections and convey to each other where should we be paying attention? What are you interested in at this moment? Is there anything dangerous? The eyes naturally widen when shocked, showing more of the white in our eyes, and the dark pupils show us where exactly that danger is. We are extremely good at knowing when someone is staring at us directly. You don't even have to look at much of the time to feel the sense that someone is looking at you. Right now, where do you see my eyes looking exactly? I mean, you can tell immediately I'm reading a script that I wrote. I mean, there's a teleprompter right down below, but see, now watch, if I eye gaze right back at you now, you can really tell that I'm staring directly at you. And that's powerful. And as my eyes widen, the whites in my eyes grow more like I'm shocked, and there's some kind of danger, but really, that's just an example anyways. But your gaze tells a lot about where you are projecting your attention in your life. Now, another interesting aspect of this is the formation of bonding between parents and their newborn child with the eyes. The eye gazing, it's a strong producer of attraction, love, trust, affection through the release of oxytocin, the love hormone. Now, not only are we great at detecting when we are eye locked with someone, we are also great at detecting body language and emotion. We are great at mimicking each other. When you smile at a baby, depending on the emotional connection, it will smile back, strengthening that bond. It teaches them that a smile usually represents that pleasant exchange of emotion. Now, that's related to the relationship the child has with the person teaching these social cues. I've smiled at Indian babies and have made them cry unconsolably. When they see someone with a totally different facial structure or color, they tend to shut down or cry because their entire schema of what a friendly person looks like has been destroyed in that moment. So a simple smile doesn't always work, as stated in the relationship correlation, but I digress. What I did specifically notice about the physical deities that would produce this type of love, trust, bonding, and the release of oxytocin, the love hormone, the eyes. The eyes of the deity are very directional. The whites of the eyes are extremely pronounced, which shows you exactly where the deity is staring. Sometimes the deity has a charming smile, but the eyes are profoundly captivating. So when the devotees are in constant eye gazing with the physical deity, there must be a large amount of oxytocin being released. There must be a true bonding, trust, and spiritual development occurring. In summary, so taking all this information in, I've really come to admire the devotion in the physical deity. And I'm probably envious of it too, because I can only truly understand it on a psychological level. I haven't had that experience except in a materialistic sense. I may have had similar experiences in Christian worship music, but not to the level I believe the devotees have had to the physical deity. There's something more than just the material. I think anyone who comes to the idea that there's a creator can come to that conclusion quite easily. I've been to many different temples with friends who simply stand at the very front of the altar and eye gaze and smile directly with the physical deity. It's absolutely fascinating. They stand in absolute love and admiration, and it seemed intoxicating to them. Nothing else mattered in that moment. It was extremely powerful. Their eyes locked with the eyes of God, who was looking directly back at them.